Well, good morning, guys. Welcome back. Looks like a rainy day out there. I had big plans today. I'm not sure if I'm able to do them. The plan is to build a fire pit, but it is awfully rainy, so we're gonna see what we can do. First off, I think we're gonna have a coffee. Well, I checked the forecast and it appears as though the rain is going to kind of trickle down all day long, sort of like Niagara Falls, which is actually a good thing. If you could, look at the glass as half full, it's a positive because I've got a lot of burn piles, kind of like brush I've been accumulating. A lot of the times I leave them around for the little critters to hang around in, but there's some that are just kind of in the way. So yeah, and there's like old building material that I want to get rid of. So I'm gonna light those up probably, and I've got to deal with the ash trees. It's kind of like it's an epidemic of, I guess, North American proportions. The emerald ash borer has been decimating the ash trees, and it's kind of getting to the point where they've been dead and standing for a really long time. And I kind of should start dealing with them. Like winter's coming, and I've had at least one like sort of catastrophically fail, like break off at the base and just kind of shear off, and there was no wind, just kind of like a day like today, there was no wind, and it just like bang, crash when it fell down, and yeah, and I just kind of think like what's gonna happen next sort of thing. Like there's so many that are just kind of standing there dead as just big, I guess they call them widowmakers for a reason. So hopefully this isn't a foreshadowing. I'm gonna knock a bunch down that are kind of in and around the cabin area. The one that came down was over the trail, so I did hear it. So I guess, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's around to hear it, does it make a sound? Well, this one did. This one I was around, so that's probably why it made some noise at all. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if these ones make a sound. And I've got to redeem myself because apparently there's people in those comments that say that I can't cut a tree down without getting it hung up. Well, the story is, and not even this, the reality is, in this forest it hasn't been managed. There's been a lack of forest management going on pretty much all over the world because people believe that trees should just grow and grow and grow and never really be cut down. And the reality is forest fires are a natural thing. Either you can have one or the other. You could either have forest fires that go and cut everything down, or you can manage your forest properly by selectively thinning and allowing regrowth, and not have catastrophic fires throughout the world and kind of uncontrolled. Anyways, that's the reason why I kind of knock some of these down, is because they are very thick. They are, well, these ones are dead, but there is selective pruning and thinning in order to maintain a healthy forest. The reality is that young trees do grow a lot quicker, and they actually sequester more carbon the younger they are. They do tend to slow down the larger they get. And a lot of trees, they only get so big, and then they die. So these ash trees have succumbed to the emerald ash borer, so that's why these ones are dead. But like pines that are planted in rows, those ones, they were planted as a crop, so they should have been thinned. They're gonna get thinned. Anyways, the goal of today is to actually make myself a proper, social fire pit that allows a place to kind of relax, roast some marshmallows, some hot dogs, some weenies, nice little picturesque place. I've got some plans for that up in an old noggin. I think Don's coming this afternoon. He's gonna give me a hand. He likes burning things, so it's right up his alley. I said, we're gonna burn things and move rocks. I didn't tell him that part, but anyways, let's get started. I got my coffee in me. Yeah, don't want to waste a rainy day.
Hey Chris, you having dinner at Champions over there? Hey Holden. the idea is to cut it and then use the excavator to push it that away, because we don't want it to go this away because it's leaning a little bit this way. That's the plan. Anyways, hopefully it works. Give it a try.
Real close. It's real close.
Well, that's just to prove to the naysayers that I can actually fall a tree when there's a clear drop zone. The plan was to basically hit that ash tree that's straight there, because what I want to do is actually take that tree and fall it this way. And the idea is to kind of limit my collateral damage. The reason I chose this spot was because there's a beech tree there that has the beech bark disease that's probably not long for this world, but it's still pretty. The other option, I guess there was no real other option. Otherwise, you could take out the grain gazebo, you take out this elm or this cherry. That was pretty much the other thing. That's kind of sort of a textbook landing. What do you think, Don? Is it perfect?
Perfect.
It's almost landed right into the fire. I don't have to move it at all. And we're going to section some of this stuff off because there is millable lumber in here that we can use for other things, possibly even for our little fire pit there. The bench wood that I need to make. Yeah. Anyways, so that I could have wedged it over with the wedges, but what ended up happening is, well, we didn't have. I sunk the wedges. If I had more wedges, I probably could have got it over without the excavator. There is a way. You can throw a line up into it, and there's lots of ways to make it happen. But you just take the stuff you got and make it work. There's my notch. I came in a little low off the back, so it probably had a little bit more holding wood than it needed. Ideally, you want to be like almost the same level as your notch, which is that beak looking thing. So you want to come the same level. I left a lot of holding wood. There's probably about an inch and a bit, but as you can see, this part of the tree is viable. You can see the little hairs sticking up. That means that tree is still very much, well, it's holding. It's got some tensile strength. Over here where it's kind of sheared off, there's really no holding wood. You can't see, so that portion of the tree is rotten. You can actually see some spalting right there. So that guy was not going to last very much longer, just dead standing. But the other portion of the wood is actually in good shape. You can see it there. So anyways, all's well that ends well. This is what happens when you leave an ash to its own devices. The middle of this ash is completely rotten, and this is the only holding wood. This one decided to just kind of fall over. You can see it here. It's massive, and it fell right across the trail. Smashed the cedar tree. So anyways, I guess it did. And there's a, if you look up there, you can see a couple of widowmakers kind of still up in that. That's another ash tree, actually. That one's got to come down too. Right there. You can see how dead they are. Look at how brittle those are. Not a good sign. It's like this stuff's invisible. You can't see it on the backdrop of the wood chips. But we're going to use these as baskets, Gabion baskets, and we're going to double them up because the gap here is pretty darn big. You can see how big that is. And then we're going to fill it with rock because that'll hold the heat and reflect the heat and give us a nice seat. All right, well, this is our fire pit. This is a, I don't know, about 30-inch in diameter John Deere tire rim. And it's actually from a burned out tractor. A barn caught fire and the tractor caught fire. And this is what's left of the tire. So I grabbed it. As you can see, there's some scorch marks on it. It's going to make an excellent fire bowl. But what I want to do is kind of give it, I want to look at it to see what the seating should look like in relation to this ring. I want to put it over here at some point, but it's really muddy. So we're going to work on the wood chips over here because that's just the smart thing to do today. Well, that rain came out of nowhere. It was like, you know, rains and cats and dogs. And as Don would say, it was like a kind of like a gully washer or a thunderstorm. It was crazy, crazy, crazy rain. We expected to get more done today, but the rain kind of kept us up. So, well, you can only do what you can do. Can't fight the weather, but it is relaxing sleeping, you know, with the rain hitting a tin roof. Quite relaxing. So anyways, I'm gonna pretty much call it a night for tonight, and we'll see you right now. Well, we had a little bit of a late start. We actually went on a run. There was some free stuff that we picked up for another project, some really big culvert stuff and some hockey sticks and a hockey net, because why not, right? We're just cooking lunch now. Don's busy. He's wiring up the Gabion baskets with the linesman pliers. Fencing pliers or fence pliers, not linesman pliers. Fencing pliers. I got my sausages cooking. I got my coffee percolating. Sometimes you just gotta roll with the punches, kind of go with the flow, right? The rain delay. The rain's kind of cleared up. It's just a little cloudy today. It is very moist outside, but it is cooler, so that's good.
Smacking your lips there, Frank.
Yeah, Frank, you want some? You want some sausage? Left unattended. Frankie will eat everything. It's too hot, eh, Frank? Too hot. Let it cool down. You're gonna steal out all the sausage? Yeah, I know you're gonna do that. Some people say that meat goes bad in the freezer. This is the original pig, the original pork. It's going on 2 years now, I think. Yeah, 2 years, full 2 years. And no flies in there. It's still just as delicious as the day we made it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Although we did freezer pack it, like shrink wrap it, and it was wrapped in that butcher paper. So I don't know if that made it last longer, but it's still very good. Anyways, we're gonna enjoy our lunch and our coffee. We got our baskets. They're starting. You can't even see them. You can't see them on the backdrop. They're coming well along. Once we get the rock in there, we're gonna be rocking. We'll be rocking. We're just gonna have our lunch. Get this show on the road. In order to make our Gabion wire basket benches, we ended up taking some old page wire or fencing. It's the stuff that's braided together as opposed to welded together, and we layered it up 4 layers thick in order to allow a small enough space so the rocks would not fall through if they're not piled correctly. And then once we had 4 layers worth, we ended up taking some other tie wire and tying it all together, and the bits that we had left over from the wire, we ended up wiring those together, and then we put a bunch of cross pieces in, so once we have the rock inside the Gabion baskets, the baskets don't themselves splay out. Now all we have to do is put them in place, and then we can stack rocks in them and put the top on. Progress. We're making progress. All right, so that's what we got left over. You guys can see inside of the basket, you can see that everything's welded. And as long as we have a rock that is larger than this, or it's placed in such a fashion that it doesn't come through these little holes, otherwise it would have been like a 4x8 hole, which wouldn't have been strong enough. And then we use these little tie wires to secure it all together. And then that shape, you can see the gentle curve, it's going to go around the fire pit in order to accommodate a lot of seating. All right, I just got everything milled up on my Norwood HD 36. I got that ash log, brought up to the mill, milled it up into usable lumber, and made some strips for the sides. And I also made the bendy pieces, which is the little thin slits, which is going to go around the front and the back of the thing. And then I got the corner pieces so we don't catch ourselves on the metal edges. That'll be kind of like a finishing detail. And then what I did is I took the slits and I actually threw them in the pond so they're more bendy when I want to bend them. So they'll sit there for probably a couple of hours. We got to move another ton of rock. Are you looking forward to that, Don?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he woke up thinking I'm gonna move some more rock. So we got one pretty much filled up. The second one is kind of half filled up, and then we got one that's the size of 2, not even touched yet. So that one's on its way. So we'll get those filled up, and then we can start finishing the pretty part of these things, which is the top, which is, I guess, the most satisfying part of this. It's kind of satisfying moving rock. I don't mind moving rock. Anyways, it's moving some rock. We also have to fill the middle of here with some pea gravel or some smaller stone. I don't really have a lot of clean stone, so I'm going to probably devise a solution for that. To have some nice rock so I can actually, so if any embers do fall down there, they don't, light everything on fire. But yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan for today. Nice day. It's not as rainy. It's not as, cloudy. It's nice and sunny. Although that's like, double-edged sword, right? Because now it's too hot to move stone. Before it was too wet to move stones. There's a lot of excuses not to move stones. Any really excuse will do. Anyways, I gotta move some stone. Get this thing done. Alright, so now we're in the market for some clean gravel. This is, it's got clay on it, so we're gonna wash these. But we need those, that sort of style rock right there. I don't know, it's like 2 minus. So I don't know if there's an easy way to get this. But yeah, so that's the plan. And then we're gonna clean them somehow. Okay, so my plan is to take this stuff that's all caked full of clay and dirty and make it clean, even cleaner than this stuff. This is, again, got dirt on it. I want it to be clean, clean gravel, and what I'm going to use is an old Kenmore dryer, and I'm going to tumble it inside there. This is a gas dryer, and well, we're going to see what happens when we put gravel in here and some water and turn it on. I'm curious. Rig the door safety switch here. Oh, need a bigger stick. Bigger stick than that. Maybe that's too much. Too much. Did it already die?
Here, let's. Try it now. Put 10 bombs, I don't know.
Well, our first batch of rocks is done. Look how clean those are. Those are perfect. Look at like the fine little gravel pieces are even clean. These ones are a little too big, but you know what? That's pretty darn good for our first batch. What I think I'm going to do is actually punch a bunch of holes in the drum itself to let more water out and potentially all these little guys. Because what's happening is back. Little seal there is where most of the water and silt is going, but if we can get them to come out of the little holes, we'll actually be able to wash probably even quicker. Let's try that. In order to finish off the top of the benches, we ended up taking some ash wood that we had milled up and we cut it roughly to the dimensions of the top of the bench. And then we painstakingly drew a line around the edge of it and cut them off with the chainsaw to give us a nice round profile. And then we took a piece of wood that we had submerged in the pond to make it more bendy, and we screwed it into the face of the slats in order to hold its shape. Now that we got everything washed off, I just washed the clay off of all of the stone that we put in the baskets just to give it a nice fresh look. And then what I'm going to do is actually let the tops dry, and I'm going to give them a sand and probably a polyurethane of some kind, probably an oil-based product to resist the water from soaking into it as it gets older and whatnot. So yeah, keep it fresh, keep it shiny looking. I'm not a big fan of sealing that stuff, but this is a seat, and you kind of want it to not have that mossy stuff grow on it. And anytime you can kind of seal the top of it, then it dries off quicker. And when I built these things, I purposely allowed them to slope, and that's so the water doesn't pool on it, just kind of sheds off of it. And yeah, so once this is dry, I can give it a light sand, and then give it a nice finish, and we'll be ready for our inaugural burn. It's that time of day again. Early morning sanding. Got my mask on so I don't get any of the dust. I'm using my angle grinder with a pretty aggressive bit because this is rough sawn wood. Should make quick work of it. Well, those benches are just at the right height where it actually hurts your back to sand them. So, but they're done, and now all they need is a nice varnish coat that'll keep them looking pretty for years to come, hopefully. And yeah, I think they're turning out really, really, really nice. They're hard to film though because they're really bright, and there always seems to be overexposed. But hey, you know what? I like them. Well, my plan was to, you know, have marshmallows and weenies with Don, and well, Don decided that he wanted to take a vacation, and rightfully so. He's headed out east, so if you see him out east, be sure to say hello to him. I think he's going to like PEI area for a couple of days, like 10 days or something. But my brother's with me. He's holding the camera, so we're gonna roast some marshmallows, have a coffee. It's like early fall season. We're just doing some fish, sort of, I guess. We're feeding them, and we're making our little cattail area prettier, so the cattails can make a really good start for next spring. And yeah, so this is kind of like, this is my favorite time of year, is fall season. And yeah, so take advantage of it. We got a nice seating area. It seems to have, you know, sorted out really well. But yeah, so yeah, just gonna roast my marshmallows and enjoy the day pretty much. Oh, Fire Pit turned out pretty good, I think. It's got the it's got the je ne sais quoi.
So I fell in the water. So it's a good thing there's a fire going. I slipped off the edge and I fell in up to my boot, up to here, over the boot. These are good boots, eh? high C.
I do like them.
They don't work when you go over top of the rim though. Actually, I thought I had most of the water out, now it's just liquefying again. Anyway, yeah, that's what I'm up to. And get ready for fall hunting. It's just around the corner.
So that guy there is a John Deere tire rim. It's a 30-incher, but yeah, you can spend a whole lot of money if you want a really, really fancy tire or fireplace, but you know what? You find yourself an old tire rim, it works just as well. It looks perfect. It's a perfect...
Gotta keep turning.
Oh my. It's the perfect marshmallow.
Is that done?
I think it's pretty good.
It's done on most sides.
There you go.
It's hard to do the bottom due to the bow.
You gonna try?
Well, I actually could just rotate it
That's good.
to work smarter, not harder. Whew. Just shy of catching fire. Brown on all sides.
There you go. Probably lava.
I might eat it. I think my best.
I like my marshmallow al dente, so I've got the just ever so slightly brown on the one side. And it's cooled off. That's perfect. That's the taste of fall right there. I should do the chubby bunny contest. You ever seen that? How many marshmallows you can stuff in your face while saying chubby bunny? I'm not going to do that. Anyways, I think this is going to be actually a really nice place when it gets really cold for the fire pit, especially because what's going to happen is the rocks that are around the fireplace, especially in the Gabion baskets that are sitting around the fire pit, are actually going to accumulate warmth over time and actually radiate the warmth back on your legs. Because usually what happens when you have a like a fire is that your front's like, you know, on fire and the other side is cool. So idea is to kind of temperate that. And same idea with the rocks around the fire pit. That's the idea there, is to actually accumulate thermal mass and have the heat radiate. So you don't have to have a huge fire to keep warm. You can just have it the right size. Same with the barrel and steel. That's just radiating that there. And for air intake on the barrel, I just actually kept it up off the ground, which allows the air to actually pick up and go underneath the rim there. So everything is hunky-dory. I didn't really have to do anything to that thing. That thing will probably last a lifetime. It is crazy, crazy thick steel. And all we need to finish this off is a little bit more rock, but I kind of got tired washing gravel, so it is what it is. And once I find some more gravel, I will slowly pile them up there. I kind of find it very relaxing stacking rocks. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and join me on the next one. Got any parting words, Chris?
My foot's almost dry.
Almost dry already?
Well, it's becoming a happy medium.
A warm wet sock as opposed to a wet sock.
Wet cold sock.
Anyways, we'll check you on the next one.